Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are building your absolute ultimate survival guide for taking back control of your data, navigating state bureaucracies, and, of course, saving some money here in Colorado. Look, whether you're dealing with the messy aftermath of a car crash, bracing yourself for a trip to the DMV, or just trying to stop major corporations from tracking your every move, you really need a playbook. And that is exactly what we're handing you today. Okay, let's jump right into the agenda. We're going to cover 1. Free crash reports, 2. Mastering Colorado open records, 3. The 2026 DMV fee increases, and 4. The Colorado Privacy Act. Let's do this. Section 1. Free crash reports, bypassing the bureaucratic fees. We're kicking things off with an incredible little hack that solves a super common headache: getting your hands on your crash report without paying a third-party distributor. If you have ever been an offender bender, you know exactly how crucial this document is for getting your insurance claim moving. Now, before you go and hand over 10 or 15 bucks to LexisNexis for an instant buy crash report, you've got to know that you can actually get the exact same document completely for free through a public records request. It's a classic trade-off, right? Buy crash gives you convenience. You usually have the PDF within 24 to 48 hours. But public records laws allow you to get a free or low-cost copy straight from the police. It'll take about 5 to 21 days, so unless you're staring down an immediate hard deadline from your insurance company, speed is really your only trade-off here. So here is exactly how you bypass that fee. Step 1, grab the case number from that exchange of information card the officer handed you at the scene. Step 2, look up the responding agency's public records or FOIA office online. Sending an email is usually your fastest route. And Step 3, submit a quick written request. The key here is to specifically ask for a fee waiver, explicitly stating that you are a party to the crash, like a driver, a passenger, or the vehicle owner. It's a remarkably simple process, and it keeps that money right in your pocket. Section 2, Mastering Colorado Open Records, CORA versus CCJRA. Okay, now that you know how to snag your crash records, let's zoom out and look at how Colorado handles public records in general. Because honestly, knowing the law gives you incredible leverage when you're dealing with the state. First up is CORA, which stands for the Colorado Open Records Act. Think of this as the bedrock rule that guarantees your right to access government documents. But, and this is a really important but, it intentionally carves out one massive category, and that is criminal justice records. And that is exactly where the CCJRA comes into play. Crash reports handled by the Colorado State Patrol, along with ongoing police investigations and 911 calls, all fall under this specific act. Interestingly, the CCJRA actually grants law enforcement agencies a bit more discretion over what they release compared to CORA. Courts have traditionally interpreted this act to favor less broad disclosure, so the agency definitely has more of a say in what you actually get to see. Now, there's a pretty wild quirk to the CCJRA. If you want these criminal justice records, you legally have to sign a statement swearing you won't use them to solicit business for financial or pecuniary gain. So yeah, you absolutely cannot just request a huge batch of fresh crash reports to start cold calling victims for a new side hustle. Not gonna happen. You also want to keep a really close eye on the strict timeline for CORA requests. Normally, agencies have 3 working days to get back to you. But if they're completely swamped or your request is just massive, they can claim extenuating circumstances and bump that deadline out to 10 days. Oh, and keep in mind, they do charge for this effort. The first hour of research is free, but after that, they can hit you with up to $41.37 an hour, plus 25 cents a page for copies. All right, so we've got a solid handle on requesting your data from the state, but are you prepared for how much it's going to cost just to update your own personal info next year? Because spoiler alert, a trip to the DMV is definitely not getting any cheaper. Section 3, 2026 DMV fee increases. Prepare your wallet for June and July. Let's break down these brand new DMV fee adjustments that are hitting the books in the summer of 2026. The state says they have to make these tweaks to maintain essential driver and vehicle services and to cover those ever-rising manufacturing expenses. Starting June 30th, 2026, credential costs are creeping up across the board. You'll see that a standard driver license bumps up from $32 to $34. A state ID goes up $1 to $14. But wow, look at the commercial driver license. That fee is literally doubling, jumping from $17.50 all the way to $35. Then, literally one day later, on July 1st, manufacturing expenses start pushing up the cost of the physical materials. This means you're going to pay more for specialty plates, electric vehicle decals, and even those simple little month and year tabs for your license plate, which are jumping from 45 to 55 cents. I know, it's a few cents here and a few dollars there, but as we all know, it adds up fast. We have spent a lot of time talking about the information you willingly hand over to the state. I mean, when you apply for a driver's license or you get into a crash, you know the government has your data. But what about when massive corporations harvest your digital footprint without you even realizing the sheer extent of it? Section 4, the Colorado Privacy Act, Your Digital Rights and Universal Opt-outs. This brings us to the final piece of our playbook, and it's a real game changer. The Colorado Privacy Act is a powerful law that grants everyday consumers brand new rights to access, correct, delete, and restrict their personal data from businesses. 100,000. That massive number is the threshold. The CPA kicks in for any entity doing business in Colorado. The process is the personal data of 100,000 or more Colorado consumers in a single calendar year. It also applies if a business derives revenue from selling data and processes the data of at least 25,000 consumers. Basically, this ensures the law is targeting the major players who are harvesting data at an industrial scale. To actually use your rights, you have to know exactly who has your data. Under the law, a data controller is the primary decision maker. Think of massive retailers like Walmart or Target. They collect your information at checkout or through the rewards apps, and they alone decide exactly how that data is going to be used. On the flip side, you have a data processor. Think of them like a vendor, such as a cloud storage provider. They only handle your information under the direct instruction of the controller. They aren't the ones making the rules, they're just following orders. So the controller is really the one you want to target when you're exercising your privacy rights. You've got to pay special attention to this concept of sensitive data. We're talking about really personal stuff: race, religious beliefs, health diagnoses, sexual orientation, biometric data, or any information on kids under 13. Controllers absolutely cannot process this stuff without getting your explicit, affirmative, and unambiguous consent first. And just to be clear, blindly agreeing to a giant block of terms of service or clicking past a confusing web pop-up, that does not count as real consent under this law. So what actually happens when you put your foot down? If you formally request to access or delete your data, controllers have exactly 45 days to respond to you. They can claim an extra 45-day extension if it's reasonably necessary, but they have to notify you about the delay. And remember, your very first request to access your data every 12 months, by law, that has to be provided to you completely free of charge. All right, here is your concrete action plan for taking back your digital footprint. Step 1, start checking those privacy notices. Businesses are now legally required to clearly spell out exactly what they collect and why. Step 2, utilize the new universal opt-out mechanisms, which controllers had to start accepting in July 2024 to stop targeted ads dead in their tracks. And step 3, flex your right to download your data in a usable electronic format so you can finally see exactly what these companies have on you. Well, we have covered a whole lot of ground today, from bypassing those pesky LexisNexis fees with a simple public records request, to bracing for the 2026 DMV hikes, all the way to wielding the Colorado Privacy Act against massive data controllers. You are now officially armed with the ultimate citizen's playbook. So what does this all mean for you? Well, what is the very first piece of your personal data that you are going to take back today? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and we will see you next time.